Hello everyone, I'm Day Weather Meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this Saturday, September 28th, 2024. It's being brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors and WSR Insurance Services Incorporated. Well, last weekend, some of you got a little bit of rain, but since then, the work week warm and dry in the west. That's going to continue for here a little bit longer. Although we may see a cooling trend, temperatures not as warm, it is going to generally be speaking a dry and pretty warm late September and early October pattern as we look for the week ahead. We're going to have warmer than average temperatures, and generally speaking, it's going to be dry. We'll be looking at a little bit of moisture in the far Pacific Northwest, some moisture in western Canada, but from the northern and central plains through the Rockies, the desert Southwest and California, and a lot of the Intermountain West, at least for another week, it's going to be dry. Now, changes are likely to come this weekend. A little hard to say if they're big changes or little changes, but starting this upcoming weekend, the first weekend of October, we'll start to see weather patterns change, getting a little bit more like a fall pattern developing during that time frame. Now, in the past week, we have seen some decent moisture. Of course, the hurricane down here, this is from the system that came through last weekend. Same up here across parts of Montana. So patches of moisture over the last week and warmer than average temperatures. What we're going to see developing as we get into the forecast period ahead. It starts like this. The remains of Helene go into the southeastern United States. That will jam up the jet stream, kind of causing a block. So the jet stream is going to want to really not budge much or change. This will keep high pressure locked in the west, low pressure locked in the east through the next several days. And so this is what the precipitation forecast looks like for the next several days. With the exception of the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada, it looks pretty dry. Now, by early in the week, we do have a cool front that'll come out of the northern Rockies of Canada through Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. This front will probably come through dry, but the air behind it is going to be cooler, coming in from the northwest. So temperatures in the western United States to start the new week will be a little bit more like fall, while from California along the I-70 corridor of Colorado into Kansas, it's going to be still pretty warm into early next week, cooling off in the northern areas. As the week matures, as we go through the middle of next week, a west to east jet stream flow develops. And what this will do is bring a generally mild, sometimes breezy, but also likely dry trend to the west for most of next week. However, by next weekend, we'll see high pressure build along the west coast, allowing the jet stream to take a dip. This opens the door to colder weather. So by the middle to the end of next weekend, colder weather returns, maybe some precipitation chances. Not a lot. Between now and next Saturday, we may see a little bit of shower activity break out here. I think the better chances of moisture will be the following days after this period. But you can see a large part of the central and western United States, there's nothing heavy for another week. Temperature-wise, well, it's going to continue to be warm. But that colder air you see up here in the blue, that's going to start coming in mid to late next weekend and into the following week. So we're going to see changes, but they're further down the road. Short term, the next 5 to 7 days, not much going on in the western United States. Warmer than average and continued, for most of you, still very dry. Snowfall, well, as you would expect with it being warm, it's staying mostly north of the border. That could change with our next update the following week. Have yourself a good week ahead. We'll see you next weekend.